And Israel says it has deported all foreign activists detained after Israeli forces intercepted a Gaza-bound aid flotilla earlier this week.
And this comes amid mounting international criticism over the activists' treatment in custody. Hundreds of activists from the countries around the world were detained after Israeli naval forces stopped the flotilla at sea on Monday during the latest attempt to challenge Israel's blockade of Gaza.
Turkish Foreign Ministry sources say that 422 activists, including 85 Turkish nationals, they were flown out of southern Israel on 3 chartered aircraft arranged by Ankara. Some of the first arrivals were later seen at the VIP terminal of Istanbul airport as families and supporters gathered to welcome them home.
The flotilla incident has triggered protests and diplomatic backlash across several countries. In Greece, supporters of the Gaza-bound aid convoy marched to the Israeli embassy in Athens. Supporters condemned the detention and alleged mistreatment of activists while in Israeli custody.
We were taken to a prison boat, 3 of them I'm pretty sure. In one of the prison boats, 35 people suffered fractures to their ribs. People said there was at least 12 sexual assaults that took place. People were tased. Me personally, I was kept in cuffs where I can't feel my hands anymore. I was kicked in the ribs multiple times.
Now, one of the returning activists, Bilal Kitay, a Turkish national from the mainly Kurdish city of Bengal in eastern Turkey, was reunited with his wife after arriving home. Kitay said that this was his second mission with the flotilla for Gaza and that he had been traveling on a vessel carrying around 10 activists. He claimed the interceptions by Israeli forces was far more than violent than a previous flotilla operation in April. Speaking after his return, Kitay sharply criticized the treatment of detainees and said that he still intends to join future aid convoys heading towards Gaza.
Now, international outrage intensified after Israel's far-right National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir released videos appearing to mock detained activists who were pinned to the ground, while 2 detainees later alleged they had been physically assaulted while in custody.
Free Palestine!
The quietest era that had ever been. It comes thanks to deterrence. The Temple Mount is in our hands. The Temple Mount is ours.
Well, the controversy surrounding the flotilla operation is now spreading further across Europe. Italy is considering sanctions against Israeli National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir.
There is a position. There is a position of a minister. Regarding yesterday's affair, everyone distanced themselves. There has been a clash going on within the government. A very tough controversy between the foreign minister and Ben-Gvir, even at the Knesset, because the foreign minister condemned the position of, as far as the story of the flotilla is concerned.
Now, Greece's foreign ministry described Ben-Gvir's behavior as unacceptable and absolutely condemnable and demanded the immediate release of Greek citizens being held in detention.
Now, at the United Nations Security Council, fresh warnings have also been issued over the future of Gaza. A lead envoy of the Board of Peace Initiative warned that the enclave's current division, it could become permanent unless a ceasefire is reached soon. Listen to this.
I want to be clear about the risks of inaction by the parties. The risk is that the deteriorating status quo becomes permanent. A divided Gaza, Hamas holding military and administrative control over 2 million people across less than half the territory. Those people are likely to remain trapped in the rubble, dependent on aid, with no meaningful reconstruction, because reconstruction financing will not follow where weapons have not been laid down.
The Board of Peace was established by the U.S. President Donald Trump as part of an ambitious effort to end Israel's 2-year war in Gaza and oversee reconstruction of the devastated territory. However, implementation of the initiative has stalled amid continuing hostilities.
More than 6 months after the United Nations endorsed a peace framework for Gaza, leading international aid groups including Oxfam, Save the Children and Refugees International say that there remains a major gap between Israel's commitments and the reality facing civilians on the ground.
According to the latest UN figures, the number of settler attacks causing casualties or damage this year has now surpassed 870 incidents.
Well, separately, the United States says its decision to remove Francesca Albanese, the United Nations Special Rapporteur on the occupied West Bank and Gaza, from a sanctions list is only temporary and does not represent any broader shift in U.S. policy.